I really appreciate when Jesus tells parables. I also recognize that I am not a first century Palestinian or Israelite who may understand or interpret these parables in different ways. We have a garden in our backyard. It's a garden that my mother-in-law tends very, very attentively. And she's very good at making sure that everything is weeded and everything is planted, and she rotates some plants in and out. We also have wonderful neighbors who are master gardeners, and they've been very generous doing what we call guerrilla gardening. Guerrilla gardening, sneaking in when we're away at work, and things suddenly appear out of the ground around our house, and sometimes it really does feel like a miracle. We're very thankful that they practice this. We love having new things pop up, things that we didn't expect, things that we didn't plan. Sometimes Jesus talks about seed as if we are the ones who are sowing the seed, or sometimes it's Jesus who is sowing the seed and the seed falls on rocky ground, or it falls on unfertile soil, or the seed is carried off by evil ones. And I don't like those seed parables, because it seems like only 1 in 4 of the seed is actually going to take root and do something. In the gospel today from Mark, the seeds kind of do all the work that they're supposed to do because nobody interferes with them. And all the seed seems to grow. The seed that grows and provides food and provides sustenance, the seed that grows and is so plenteous it creates bushes much, much larger than the original seed, which is true of all seeds, but maybe more true of the mustard seed. I like the fact that in these seeds, God is doing all the work. And all the seed has to do is just kind of step aside and let God do the work. I like this parable because it reminds me that, yes, I am diligent about being faithful. I am diligent about being a follower of Christ. I do my best to love the Lord my God with my whole heart, mind, body, and soul. And I do my best to love everyone around me at any moment in time. But sometimes I feel like I'm doing a lot of work. I think part of the message of this particular reading from Mark is that you don't have to do all the work. God has already provided you with everything you need to be a good person and to be a good Christian. It's natural to care for one another. It is not natural to be selfish. It is natural to pray for one another. It is not natural to ignore the needs of one another. It is our call to be Christian because Christ was human. God became incarnate in the Christ, in Jesus of Nazareth, and he calls us to be good people. He calls us to love God, and he calls us to do whatever we can to bring the kingdom of heaven into this place where you are right now. And you have the resources to do it. Reject those voices that say ignore. Reject those voices that say denigrate or put somebody else in a lower place than yourself. It's easy to do that if we trust in God's providence. And we also don't have to work so hard. I like looking at children. Children are so amazingly human. Long before they feel jealous of the things that other people have, or long before they feel anger when they don't have their own way, they have just this wonderful little acceptance, a kindness. I mean, as long as they're fed and their diapers are changed, right? But children are generous, always generous. My son Seamus, from the time he was 3 years old, he would go out into the kitchen to grab a snack, and if he grabbed one for himself, he always grabbed one for us. Now, it might be that if we didn't want the snack, he would then have 2. That might be the story. But in reality, he was just generous from his very nature, from his very beginning. I wonder what gets in our way of being generous. I wonder if we have a sense of entitlement sometimes, as opposed to a sense of generosity. I wonder if we think that we have to be justified, or we have to be respected by everyone all the time. Or I wonder if we should just be the ones respecting others all the time, or recognize that our entitlement is we are entitled to give to others. I don't want to be the seed that gets carried off by the ravens. I don't want to be the seed on the rocky ground. I don't want to be the seed on the unfertile soil or on the path. I want to be this seed. I want to be the seed that God created me to be. And I just want to grow in God's love and in the love of everybody else. And I want to be productive. And when the harvest comes, I want God to harvest me and see that I have done a good job growing into the person that God has created me to be. May we all grow into our full potential as God created us to be. Amen.